In this demo sessions, I'm going to discuss with you that is TDS and TCS. And just want to know from you that is what is TDS. Let me know. Amal.
The prepaid tax.
Prepaid tax. Okay. Parvesh.
Sir, yes, sir. When, for example, if employer is paying salary to employee, he deducts tax from it in case.
I just want to know that is on which particular kind the TDS is going to be deducted. That is
Gross amount.
income, expenses, or the assets of the liability. Amal.
Expenses.
Expenses. Absolutely correct. It is the expenses. That is the expense on which the TDS is to be deducted. And absolutely, apart from that, you need to know the nature of transactions you need to be identified before deducting the TDS. That is, the transactions can be a trading transactions or the service transactions also. So please tell me on that is trading or the services, which is suitable for the TDS purposes? Trading or the services?
Services.
Yes, Amal.
Services.
Services. Okay. Parvesh.
Services.
Right. So I'm going to discuss with you that is what is TDS, right? This is very, very important part of you. And we need to understand that is TDS. The tax deducted at source is an income tax reduced from the money paid at the time of making specified payment, such as rent, commissions, professional fees, salary, interest, right? These are the kind of the examples that is services. Rent is a services, commission is a services, professional fees is a services, salary services, interest is services, etc. By the person making such payment deduct. The person who is responsible to deduct the TDS is called as deductor, and the person to whom the TDS is to be deducted, okay, that is called deductee, right? While talking about the TCS, if I'm talking about the TCS, right, then in that situations, the person who is responsible to collect the tax, that is collector. And the person to whom the TCS is going to be collected by the collector is called as collectee. So usually the person receiving the income is liable to pay income tax. The person receiving the income is liable to pay income tax, but the government, with the help of tax deducted at source provisions, makes sure that income tax is deducted in advance from the payment being made by you. Okay, whatever the payments you are going to be make to the persons, in that situations you are going to pay the advance taxes. We can call as advance taxes, right? We can call advance taxes. The recipient of income deductee, that means the recipient of income deductee, receive the net amount after reducing the TDS. The recipient will add the gross amount to his income, and the amount of TDS is adjusted against his final tax liability. Hope you are very, very clear with this statement, Amal and Parvesh.
Yes.
Okay. The recipient takes credit 26AS and AIS for the amount already deducted and paid on his behalf, right? Have you heard about it? That is 26AS and AIS, Amal?
Yes. Statement.
Yes, let me know what is that 26AS.
It is an it will be giving the amount of TDS being deducted quarterly.
Okay. That means whatever the TDS is has to be deducted, right, on your income. If I am a resident of income and you are a payer, absolutely. So in that situations, whatever the receipt of income, right, in that situation, whatever the TDS is deducted on my income, that will be reflected in the form 26AS. Okay, that is a tax credit form we can call. Okay, and the AIS, that is annual information statements. Can you please let me know, that is Amal, what is the AIS?
It will be giving the all the amounts that is being deducted from a person.
Related to the person. No, you can't say that is it containing the all informations related to the persons,
It
right?
means immobile property, all that information will be there.
Yes, you can say
Uh,
that. Instead of that, you can say that whatever the transactions you are doing on a PAN basis, okay, whatever the
okay.
transactions you are doing on a PAN basis, that would be reflected, all reflected would be in form, that is AIS, annual information.
Okay.
And the TIS, what is the TIS? If I'm talking about the TIS here, what is TIS?
Tax information.
Tax information statement. But a tax information statement is a part of AIS. Always remember, is a part of AIS. It's nothing more, nothing less. That is just a part of AIS, because whatever the information in AIS, that would be consolidated form that would be reflected in TIS. Okay, that is the proceed value and the gross values also. Hope you are very, very clear with this. Now I am going to take an example with you. That is, suppose firm XYZ takes office on rent from Mr. A for rupees 80,000 rupees per month. Okay. Firm XYZ takes office on rent from Mr. A for rupees 80,000 per month. The TDS is required to be deducted at 10%. Under what sections? Can you please let me know under what section? Amal?
194
194I.
IB.
IB. Yes, IB. Okay, Parvesh, can you please tell me under what sections the TDS is going to be deducted on rent?
IB 184 IB.
Exactly correct. So in that situation, the rent is covered under the specified section of the TDS. So every month XYZ deductor, every month XYZ is a firm, okay? Because that firm is going to take an office on rent. So in that situation, it's called as deductor. XYZ would be deductor must deduct the TDS of 8,000 and pay the balance of 72,000 rupees to Mr. A, that is deducted. Therefore, Mr. A received rupees 72,000 rupees per month, right? Mr. A receives 72,000 rupees per month, okay? After deduction of the tax at the source, and 8,000 will be reflected in his means, that is, in his means,
Deducted.
Mr. A.
yes, his means Mr. A. Yes, 26 AS and AIS after XYZ file his TDS return. Mark this word. After file TDS return by XYZ. Okay. XYZ needs to be file the TDS return first. Okay. And that would be reflected, whatever the TDS is deducted, that would be reflected in form 26 AS. And at the time of the filing of the ITR, absolutely, at the time of the filing of the ITR, Mr. A will add the gross amount to his income. Okay. Mr. A. Mr. A, because Mr. A is a recipient of income. Okay. Because Mr. A is a recipient of income, and absolutely whatever the income after the deducting of the TDS, that will be added at the gross amount, not the net amount. Always remember that is a gross amount, because it would be reflected in the form 26 years. And I'm also going to discuss the additional point on that. That is 72,000 rupees is receiving the Mr. A, okay, from Mr. XYZ after deducting the 8,000 as a TDS, right? And Mr. A, 72,000 is income, or 80,000 is income. That is 80,000 is income to Mr. A, okay? And that will be reflected in the ITR while filing the ITR by Mr. A, and that will add to the gross amount to his income. But suppose that Mr. A, while filing the income tax return, Mr. A, while filing the income tax return, suppose Mr. A has reflected the 65,000 or less, or the 60,000. Suppose we can take a random figure, hypothetical figure. I'm going to take 60,000 rupees. So what would be the consequences of that? Aman?
Late fees.
If Mr. A, while filing the income tax return, if Mr. A, right, suppose reflected the 60,000 rupees figure, 60,000 as a rental income, okay, in ITR. So what would be the consequences?
Will be receiving demand notice?
Yes, that means Mr. A will receive the notice from the department.
Yes. There is a deficit of 20,000 rupees.
Okay, so which notice? Under what section?
I don't know.
No, no. Parvesh, already you have taken the income tax batch, Parvesh, and we have already discussed on the same. Please kindly tell me.
Is it 42, sir?
Under 42, 142 sections. Section
Oh,
1.
yes, sir.
No. Because always remember, whenever you are going to show the income in income tax returns, okay, less than the income which is declared already reflected in the form 26 AS. Okay. Then in
Effective
that
returns.
particular situations, first of all, whatever the income tax return you have filed for the which assessment year, that is, for suppose I'm going to take an example for the assessment year 22-23, you are going to file as an income tax return, and you are reflecting the income which is less than the form 26 AS. Okay. In that situation, that income tax return would be considered as a defective returns. In that particular situation, that income tax return would be considered as a defective return, and the notice under section 139 subsection 9, right, comes to you. Okay. So you have to give a reply of that notice, and the reply should be justified reply, that the reasons should be there. Okay. So at the time of the filing of the ITR, Mr. A will add the gross amount to his income and can take the credit of TDS deducted by the XYZ against his final.
One doubt.
Yes.
Is it possible to revise this defective return?
Sorry?
We are getting. Is it possible to revise the return that has been treated as defective?
Yes, defective return can also be revised. Defective return can also be revised. Absolutely, the original return section 139(1) can also be revised, right? All belated return can also be revised, and the defective return can also be revised.
So instead of giving reply to the defective notice, we can revise the return.
Yes, you can revise, but at the same time, some points are to be considered by the department. That is, you have to give a reply of that notice if the notice come to you. Okay. And if you can also give give the mention, you can also mention, that is, I'm going to revise this defective return instead of the reasons, whatever the notice comes to you. Okay. So right now, this is the examples I'm going to take in this particular scenario. That is, A Limited is a deductor. It's a very good example. A Limited is a deductor, and he is taking a consultancy services from X and Associate. X and Associates. He is taking a consultancy services, and he's also taking a construction services, that is from Y Limited, and also he's taking a services of renting services from Mr. Ram, right? So in this example, that is suppose Mr. A, that is A Limited, is going to make a payment to X and Associate for the consultancy services 50,000 rupees per month. Okay. And to Y Limited 60,000 rupees per month, and Mr. Ram 10,000 1 lakh rupees per month. Okay. So in these situations, first of all, the consultancy services 194 JB sections would be attracted on the same. That is 10%, that is 5,000 rupees. TDS is going to be deducted by A Limited. Okay. And another point is, that is, Y Limited would be covered, that is under section 194C, that is construction services. So TDS at the rate 194C at the rate 2%. Already you remember, if I'm going to take a construction services, and that situations you need to identify, that is first one, who is a contractor. Contractor is an individual or HUF, or contractor can be other than individual or HUF. If the contractor is an individual HUF, the TDS is to be deducted at the rate 1%. If other than individual and HUF, that 2% is going, TDS is going to be deducted under section 194C. Okay, because Y limited is other than individual and HUF, then TDS is at the rate of 2% is going to be deducted here. And the another is Mr. Ram, that is a landlord, and A limited is taking a rental services, that is 1 lakh rupees per month as a rental income for Mr. Ram. So 194 I sections is to be attracted here, and 10% TDS is to be deducted. Okay, so in that situations, after deducting the TDS, yes, after that A limited will pay the net amount to X and associate and Y limited and Mr. Ram respectively. Okay, so this is very, very important discussions. And apart from that, for forward person who are required to deduct the TDS, and what is TAN number, when TDS has to be deducted, what is the due date, the TDS rate chart for the financial year 22-23, assessment year 23-24, and I will give also this Excel this chart to your mail if you enroll this TDS and TCS masterclass. So the TDS rate chart for financial year 22-23 you need to remember, right? And TDS payment due dates, what is the due date of the TDS payment, right? And interest on TDS under section 2011A. Always remember there are the two types of interest under the TDS. First one is the late deductions and the late payment. Okay, and interest for the late deductions, what is the interest scenario? There are the two category of TDS interest for the late deductions, interest for the late deposits. Okay, and interest for the late deposit is here, and the penalty for the late filing of the TDS return. Always remember the interest is the consequences of late deductions or the late payment. Okay, and fees, if I'm talking about the fees, that under section 234E, the fees would be attracted in case of late filing of the TDS or TCS return, right? So in that situation, we will discuss later on, but this is a 2 days demo, and we will also give on this particular in this particular sessions I will give you, I think something you problem here, problems. Yes. So I will give you a practical scenario here after the enroll. Amal, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes. So if you see these sessions very good and practical, then in that situations you can enroll this particular sessions.
Okay.
Okay, so today I'm going to over the sessions, and we will discuss, that is after that how you can register the TAN number, how you can generate the form 16, how you can file the TDS return, that is for salary person or other than salary person, 24Q, 26Q and 27EQ and 27Q, that is a non-resident person. We will discuss later on, but at the same time you need to remember that is I'm going to learn you, that is how we can file the TDS return in offline tool. That means freely the tool you can use. Okay, because everyone are filing the TDS returns on paid software basis, but we will discuss in this TDS and TCS master course, we will discuss that is how you can file TDS return in offline tool freely. Okay, so right now I'm going to over the sessions. Hope you found this sessions is very informative and very good. So
You will be providing recorded section.
yes, absolutely, we will give you a recorded session also, and but that the validity of that particular recorded sessions is of 1 month only. Okay, okay, Amal.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to over the session as of now. So thanks a lot to joining this session.
You are currently in practice.
Sorry.
Are you currently in practice?
Yes, currently I have a batches, so you can join immediately from tomorrow. I will conduct the class. Okay. Have a nice time and have a great day. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.